A quick visit, crazy week. It'll probably be July before I get to be fully in here properly. I don't even know where my cards are this morning. Doesn't really matter, I guess. So, just waiting for some people to join in. Just giving a moment for the energy of the room to fill, up a little bit to get the energy in. Just realized I got dry shampoo in my head. So for all of those who are watching the replay, and whenever you watch these videos, know that it is, when you hear the message, it is for you in the time that you hear it, and it's the right time for you. And so that could be a year down the road. It could be whenever. It kind of surprises me, the messages that come in a year, 2 years down the road from the time that I put the messages out there, or when somebody comments on a message from years ago. So I'm not really seeing where I am here. Just going to bring up on my phone so that I could see. Let's just see. It feels very delayed here. Just give me a minute. Oh, there we are. I was just trying to figure out if I was on, Lisa. Good morning, Lisa. So I'm coming in to do a quick morning message, and then I'm going to get my granddaughter. So I'm heading out to pick up my granddaughter for the night to have a Nana and Gramps and Sadie sleepover. Good morning, Stacy. So I am on YouTube. Okay. So my Facebook and YouTube is always on at the same time in both lives. So I'm here. Yesterday, I discovered that my page had gone into services instead of into public figure. So I got that fixed. I'm like all kinds of little things. Good morning, Natalie and Crystal and Tracy and Stacy and Tanya. Good morning. And to anyone who's watching and who doesn't comment, good morning to you as well. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always being here. For all the supporters who watch, all the followers and supporters who watch later, I so appreciate it. This morning's message, I feel like it's a little bit different. It's a little bit of a repeat. But first, I want to say this. Remember, however you hear my words and you perceive them and they absorb into you and you feel like what you get from them is what you're feeling within your own self. And you have to know that everyone hears this message differently, or these messages differently. So I want to give a little bit of a clarity to some of the things. When I speak of things like love and those type of words, they're words. And it's a way to be able to communicate through the energy. Love is a very questionable thing. The word love is very questionable, and love resonates to people differently. And seeking and searching love is not what we're here to do, just so you know, not that kind of love. It is that sense of finding that sense of peace within ourselves, to be able to make peace with our past. There's so many things that go into there, but my words are a way to communicate, and it may not have the same meaning to you as it has to me. And so when I channel these messages, and when the mystic speaks through me, their version of the words are also very different. Sometimes I listen back to my own lives and go, where did that come from? And it's a big lesson. Like, I learn a lot sometimes, and I don't listen to many of my lives. Once I'm done, I'm done. But if somebody messaged me and says, hey, you said this, I have to go back and listen to that part. I don't listen. Once the messages are out, they're gone for me. Normally, just listen to your podcast, and it was amazing. Thank you, Ellie. Yes. So anyone who doesn't know, I do have a podcast called She Is More Than Existing. And that one is separate from the Corey Thorne, the Spiritual Healer. It's another YouTube channel. I'm trying to, in July, I hope to get time to do all of this, but I'm going to put the podcast on iTunes as well. But they're all just audio. That channel is audio podcast. So you can put me in your ears and you can walk. You can download them and listen to the YouTube and listen to the podcast. And then I also have my woo-woo one, my She Is More Than Existing YouTube channel that also comes up. And this is where all the lives are, but it's also where all the extra stuff is. So all of my extra videos are all in my YouTube. They're not all on Facebook. A lot of my channel messages stay over there. So So back to the words. And so you often hear me lately, you hear me channeling through the messages about being our, we can be our worst enemies. We can turn ourselves into that weapon, to be that destroyer. And so what the weapon means is that sense of we can be so divided, and we are being uprooted and not locking together, but locking heads and butting heads. It's like two wild animals in a fight, and their horns on their heads are weapons, right? And so our weapons could be our words, could be our harshness, it can be our coldness, it can be how we write messages about, in our own blogs or in our own Facebook pages. And if you are here to be an inspiration and influence, and you're forcing people to divide and to be divided, and to have a more one-sided view, and you're belittling and putting down somebody who has another view, then there's something inside of ourselves, some sort of motive behind that we're trying to push that agenda, or some sort of fear story that we're attached to, or some sense of, well, I don't want to be forgotten, so I need to do this. And so that's the joy of being in the middle road. And that's what those words really mean when they're coming through, is that whole sense of, we've worked really hard to try to not be that. And you see it in organizations, you see it in super organized religion. I'm not against a religious faith, I'm not against Christianity. I am very much, I channel through Jesus and all of those. But any within every organization or within ourselves, there is an ego, and it's not the super ego. It is the super ego that I can play the God outside. And so that ego and that identity comes up in when your personal connection, your personal investment in your hurt becomes what we lash out. And so dividing people makes us weapons. When we ostracize people, when we're ostracizing people, we're putting them on their own island, we're separating them away from everybody, we are turning people against them. We're getting people not to follow their page, not to follow their work, because you will tell people, they're awful human beings, and they're mean and they're cruel, and because you don't like their message, or you don't like what they're saying. As long as it's, there is dangerous, and I mean dangerous, and dangerous we all have to avoid, but you have your own free will, and we have common sense, but we've lost that sense of common sense within us. And so knowing that everyone has a right, a free will right, and a freedom, which we don't want to lose. We don't want to lose. And yes, I signed a petition to not have our freedom taken away any more than what it is the fact that, is that I'm so thankful that we have the opportunity to be able to look at all sides and to be able to decide for ourselves. And we're not here to ostracize people. We're not here to become judge and jury of somebody who gets to decide what they believe and what their faith is. And so I have people on either side, even within my own house, in my own household. We have very different views and different thoughts sometimes. But we have this respect. It's this thing called, we have respect, but it's this thing called dignity for humanity. And dignity for humanity really truly means that we have to consider the fact that all humans walk in a different experience, and we have different cultures, different belief systems, different races, different everything, but we all have one common thread. We all have one common thread. And that's the fact that we are all human, and we are all here to be that for each other. And so I honor that within my work, and I take great, and I honor and respect the fact that people have different views and thoughts. And you may have seen, even on my Facebook this week, I had somebody, kind of become judgmental of me very quickly, based on the fact of who they thought they were, who they thought I was, based on the look of me, based on the look of what they see of me. And so there was sometimes amongst their own, we're the cruelest, we're the meanest. And I have seen some of the worst judgment amongst my own people against me. And that includes your own family, that includes your own culture, that includes your own race. And so some of that you got to remember, every single human being has the ability within them. And so when it was that whole judgment of, you are, So don't assume anything of anybody, and don't assume that anyone is crazy, anyone's a conspiracy theorist. Don't assume anyone's any specific color, race. Don't assume things about people. If you want to know more about their view, their thought, you should be compassionate enough to want to sit and hear a little bit more of why they have the view they have. And then we're not turning people into weapons or enemies, and we're not making people out to be the bad people, horrible people, without knowing, more about them. And that's so important. So kindness and compassion is very big this week. As we're now coming through, we just came through that ring of fire. This is about burning away all of that emotional, spiritual immaturity that we get caught up in. And we have a lot of that that's happening out there. And I just finished writing up my Fey realm class for this week, and that was in the message from the Fays, and I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. Plus, I was creating more about my prayers that I'm about to do. So that was my big message that I really wanted to give. Hello, Shauna from Collingwood, and hello everyone who's joining in. Destiny, good morning, and Karen, happy Friday, and Susan. And Annette and Cindy, hello. And Kathy, good morning. Megan, good morning. Shelley, right? Looking to love, not condemn. So this is the biggest message that I have, right? And right, we could all use that compassion. Exactly. No more dividing humanity. Yes, Stacy, exactly, right? It's been happening to you all week as well. Yes, right. And so if you want to understand somebody, be willing to sit down and listen. There's a difference. Good morning, Paula. And so faith was what was coming up for me as I was writing, because I was writing about Fae I was writing about the fairies and the Fae and the mystical realms and the mystical world. And then in the other hour that I was writing, so I spent an hour on each this morning, and then I spent time exercising and doing my body movement stuff that I've been doing. And so I was writing prayers and connecting into that essence. And over here, I was writing mystical realm. And I am a mystic. So I see all things as possible, and I see all things as possible miracles, and I see all things in faith. And so what I was coming to get into this morning, and why I'm doing the power of prayers, which I don't know why. I don't know why they're getting me to do the power of prayers, other than the fact that the ability for us to understand that we spread the word like love around, like it's like salt, like put that shit on everything. But it's the power of faith. And to understand the power of faith comes with understanding you. It's a deeper understanding of you. Everything that you dislike, everything that makes you frustrated and angry, everything that has you judging somebody else, is something that is alive within you. When you want the world to change and you want everyone else to change to make the world more comfortable for you, that is not having faith enough in you to walk in a world that is uncomfortable. And you have to have faith enough in you to walk in a world that is uncomfortable, and to understand that words are words. It is what we exist within, which is more than existing. So the actual name of more than existing is called faith. And I am a strong woman of faith. And I've had a lot of faith in myself when people would laugh at me and call me crazy. And I've never stopped being me, ever. As much as people judge me, I've just had to take off some of the layers of the hurt that I've carried, the frustration of why people want to mimic or mirror or hate on me or pick on me or judge me. Why do humans have to behave how they behave? How come? Why do we have to be mean to each other? I could never understand it. Why do we have to try to be better than somebody? Why do we have to topple somebody? Why is that how we lead our lives? And these were things that I've learned to ask God, to ask of God. And that means ask of the power. That means to ask of within the power of, in the essence of the light, to know that, to go deep enough inside of me to ask me, why do I accept that hurt? Why is that hurt impacting me? If I'm talking about all people, I am one of those people. So if I let somebody else's hurt me enough that I hurt myself, that I'm not devoted to who I am, right? And so knowing that essence so deep inside of us is such truth. So I walk away, right? And that's your honesty. That's your honesty. There's such truth to that. I walk away. I have no time or compassion for someone who treats me the way that I feel inside. So I would say I have no, it's about respect. It's about respect. Respect is earned. Respect is definitely earned, right? Right. You learn this after loss. Life is too short to be angry and hurtful to others. Exactly, Sophia. Sophia. Sophia's with us this morning, Susan. Susan. And so there's such, I'm getting that to so much more lately. Judgment is the worst thought through all humanity. And so we don't know where people are or what they're walking in, but we don't have the right to spew our hurt. And just because we have a voice and just because we have those things, don't mean we should hurt each other at all. And so sometimes we've had to walk away. Sometimes we've had to create boundaries. And there's definitely places where I'm just like, I don't have to allow that. And that's for sure. But dignity, just because I walk away doesn't mean that I hate on them to spew out hateful things about that person, or to let hate harbor hate within me, or anger, or those type of things, because that impacts and hurts you. That's not hurting them. When you walk away, it's hurting you more for every time that you open your mouth and you have to tell everyone why. Like, I walked away because they're that kind of person, and da 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 da. And then you get that chatter in your head. Well, it's hurt within you. So it's the deep seated hurt that causes, that becomes what we outgrow, and we spew that out. So what I wanted to talk about was miracles, and the way miracles happen, and the way life reflects back in. And you have to really truly be in the essence of following every bit of this work that I do, and where I exist within. And so where more than existing comes in was, I had to take ownership and responsibility of my life, and I had to be the one to call my own self out on my own bullshit, to not reflect my bullshit out. What role do I play in these situations? How long do I keep holding on? How long, how many times do I ignore flags? All those things. You got to look at everything. You got to be willing to look at the whole story, including your own role, your own character, how the identity, what you cling to, what you hold on to, all of that. And I don't mean in our faded experiences of things that are so fucking out of our control, right? It's what we do after. It's the misery. Like Susan said, after that is that life was too short to be angry and hurtful to others. Exactly, right? And that's such a truth, because those experiences, those moments, I made a celebration Facebook post the other day about how melatonin is working for my daughter so well, right? Exactly. So, yeah. So, do you see what somebody had to do? Opinions. Opinions are like assholes. Right? Opinions are like assholes, Karen, right? And so somebody had to put a wedge in there that day so that they could be proud of themselves, and they could walk around, and you would become the victim to the why, and they'd become the hero to that story of, I told her today, I stood up to her, I did this. And so, right? And so you know what you're doing, and you know your why, and you know it's working. And melatonin is actually something that our body needs and our body produces. And if our body is not producing it, right? And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. I have learned that through my work, through my ability to have to heal through my own work, that my own hurts inside of me, and the faith, and where I've lost faith in me. So miracles Miracles happen when you have faith enough in you to walk into you, to believe that you have inside of you the everything inside of you that you need to power up, to charge, to heal beyond what is crippling you. What cripples us is what we hold on to. And so when our hands cripple close, what are we holding on to so tight, right? And so in miracles, how I came to prayer and how this power of prayers works for me. And this is not about religion. This is about faith. Religion and faith are not the same, right? And so and you've probably heard of me speak of this, and I do not write of this so much until I wrote the book Magic and Miracles, which is not out yet. Until I don't really speak about this until my fourth book, because I had to travel through my own journey. So I have seen miracles so many times. And sometimes we don't realize we are witnessing miracles. And miracles often happen in such ways that they're so simple. They're so little sometimes. My daughter, so a few years ago, she's now married, got a child, but my daughter ended up sick. And it was a series of events of illness. She had went to Newfoundland. She had a dirt biking accident. She broke her thumb. She came back from Newfoundland. She ended up very deathly ill in her stomach. She had intestinal issues that was happening. She was in and out of hospital with fevers that would just spurt out of nowhere of 105, 107, 8, and buckled in pain. They rushed her to the city, going to take out her appendix. We get there, the surgeon says, there's nothing wrong with her appendix. We don't know what's wrong with her, but it's not her appendix. She didn't need the surgery. So after it started to calm down, well, in between this, her immune system got weak. She was dancing and she wanted to keep living her life. So she was at dance. She had socks on, doing a Russian split jump. And when she did the Russian split jump, she sprained her foot. When she sprained her foot, her body just kind of started to shut down. That part of her foot went paralyzed. So from her mid calf down, or a little bit higher, 3/4 up her leg down, went paralyzed. She lost all circulation. The foot curled in and it would not heal. And there was nothing and they kept saying, oh, just keep her foot up. She's not resting enough. I'm like, no, there is something wrong with my daughter. It is turning black. So by the time our doctor had returned from his holidays, he seen her and said, Corey, oh my God. And I said, she has RSD. And if you've never heard of RSD, if you ever get an injury and it locks up and it paralyzes and it closes off, it's like RSD, reflex sympathetic dystrophy. My father ended up with it, and same thing, I seen him. And my daughter has it. And I had a neurological thing. So my daughter was paralyzed. When my doctor seen it, he said, Corey, we have to get to how long? This has been a long time. And I said, this is now 15 weeks, 13 weeks. He said, you do know what happens the longer this is left. I said, yes, it's permanent. He said, yes. So we rushed to the city. We got in there. We find out for sure it is RSD. Everybody in the hospital that we had seen said, kept saying to me, she's never going to walk again. She's never going to walk again properly. There's no way. You need to pack up. You need to come live here in the city for at least 6 months. We'll get her back as much mobility as we can, but she's never going to get that full use back in her leg. And instantly, I just kicked into this gear. I'm a healer. The healer flows through me. I'm Corey. I'm a physical, just a human being. I said, I can't accept this. I said, God, I need help. I don't know what's going to happen, but I need something outside of me and I need help. So I told them a fib and told them I had a physiotherapist lined up. but the physiotherapist couldn't see her for another few weeks. I took her home. I didn't know what to expect. It was still March. It was rainy. It was cold. It was snowy. I'm crying all the way home. I'm not letting her see that. But my daughter, my beautiful daughter, couldn't walk. She couldn't put her foot to the ground. She was so drugged up, just trying to live with the neurological pain that was shooting through her body constantly. If you touched it, it was just like touching if you have a broken tooth and that root and you feel that and you touch it, like it's just like that feeling through her whole body. She was 15 years old. I took my daughter home and I just woke up in the morning and I just heard, you you have to do you have to do this, Corey. This is your responsibility. You have to trust us to flow through you to do this work. I started working on her and I said to her, I said, Maggie, you got to trust your mom. She said, Mom, I have all the faith in the world in you. And she said, you have to have faith in you. You can do this, Mom. I said, you have to have faith that you can. She says, I know I'm going to heal. I don't believe that. I'm dancing. I am dancing, Mom. And so we started working on that foot. Within a week, I was praying at her foot and I was doing Reiki healing on her foot. And I took her toes and something told me to bend her toes all the way up. And when I did, that child fell back. Her whole body started to vibrate, started to shake. Her eyes rolled back in her head. And I would never had believed in any, even though I did healing work, I always said, you heal yourself. It's about emotional healing. But you have something inside of you that is called this innate abilities, which is so strong that when you come to understand you enough and you come to believe in yourself enough that we have the power within us, we have the light within us to do something in those times. It's like when we can move something so heavy that we didn't think we could. So her whole body shook. The next day, my daughter could move her toes. 2 days later, she could stand up. A month later, my daughter was at dance festival and she danced. I never lost faith. She never lost faith. Her dance teacher was determined she was going to dance. She danced. She walked. She got used to that foot back. If I had to have believed what I was being told, and that's what I mean when people tell you things about other people that you believe to be true. If I had to have just accepted that as a truth, and if I had to have believed that to be true, she would have stayed crippled. She would have quit believing that she could be the athlete that she was. She would have believed all that to be true. So would have I. And we would have accepted that as her new truth. We could not accept that as a truth. And that's what I mean when you say to yourself, well, that's what somebody is. That's how things are. And I have to accept that. Magic and miracles is very alive. And it is alive within us. It is called have faith, have courage. To have the courage to sit and to listen to even something you don't believe in, because there's another truth. There is more truth and there is miracles, and miracles do happen. So the power of my belief and my faith and where it comes from is so deep. And then it was me. When I was told I would have to just give up on this life, I was going to be paralyzed, the same thing. I have too much faith in me to not to believe in the possibility that I can heal. Just like I truly believe humanity can become a bit better place. I will not turn people into weapons or into enemies, and I will not become the enemy of anyone by choice. I truly believe with all of my heart that we have something so innate inside of us that if we all gather and root and connect together in faith rather than in fear, that we can be the change in this world and we can all walk together. and why these mornings, the way that they got me to walk away from my evenings of mediumship and be so freaking dedicated to these morning channeled messages. I have faith in this. I don't know fully what is to come, but I know what I have seen, and I don't accept that to be our truth. I know what I am witnessing in how people treat each other. I don't accept that as a truth. I accept that there is something inside of each and every one of us, that if you have faith, that if we can return to the power of faith, it's not about fighting about what God is and who God is, and it's not about fighting about who's the right kind of person or whose story is correct. It's about having faith that humanity has the ability to become better than what we have become through this link, through this web, through this, and this sense that if we want to be a healthy influence, be one who speaks in the truth to say, on a shitty day, I'm having a shitty day. On a day that you don't understand something. So when I got attacked this week, what I said was, you know what? I received the message that I posted. Somewhere in another lifetime, I was that empath. And number one, you don't know who I am. And if you want to know who I am, instead of quickly jumping on the bandwagon of judging me and wanting to cancel me, ask me who I am. Get to know who I am. Have faith enough in you that you have enough compassion inside of you, that you have enough courage, that you're willing to sit down and listen, that something that you may not like may be something different. You may have to change your story. You may have to change some of the things in some of the directions. And so for me, I truly stay in my faith. And I've moved beyond so much of my Reiki healing work because I know you have to evolve beyond that. That healing is so much more powerful than giving it a label, a title, or to say that it is just this kind of healing. Healing is healing. Love and light is so much more powerful than the words. The words were the language that we had to create to be able to communicate to each other. And I don't have to mirror, I don't have to reflect anybody, and I don't have to try to be anybody. I have enough faith in me to be me. And you have to have enough faith in you to just be you. It's not about success, is not about becoming a superstar. It is about becoming successful at trusting you enough in here to let yourself grow, evolve, to be able to come to understand you, including the little monster that lives inside of us all, including the not so pretty self, including it all. And there's such truth there. Magic and miracles happen when we return home to faith and to come to understand faith. And Lisa Starr Francis was the person who worked with me on faith. And she said to me, she said, you have such incredible faith in everything outside of you. You have such faith in other people, but you do not have faith in you. So your energy, your word, you have a disconnect. You do have a disconnect to the word faith. And that was a life-changing moment for me, of remembering that I had to go so deep to understand my own faith and to find the nuggets of where I did have faith in me. But my weird wackiness, the healer that exists within me, that shaman that I just know, those things that I am passed down generations, I discounted them and tried to apologize for being me. And all the years of apologizing for me took me away from having faith in me, but going out and encouraging and inspiring everyone else to have faith in them and to be everything that I didn't believe I could be in me. I was taught that. So today and each and every day, have the courage to sit and to come to understand you, to be able to embody and learn more about what faith really means before we pass judgment, before we're so quick to criticize. And yeah, I've definitely paid the price for I've definitely there's definitely been a cost for choosing to walk this direction, to choosing to stay in this middle road. But this is the most content, and I am at peace. And if this is all that I get to ever be and do from this point on, if this is as popular as my book gets or my stuff gets, or it doesn't matter. I have seen so many miracles that I am now in the place in my life of living in total freaking awe of what is possible and shaking my head at the rest and just saying, I pray in the power of prayer. I pray someday that so many more can see so that we can become the trees on top of the ground and be like the trees that are in nature. Do you know how trees work together? Their roots join together. Their roots join together. No matter what species of trees they are, their roots join together. They lock and hold the earth that is soft, and they lock it and they make it strong. We are the trees on top of this earth. We are the trees that are walking. We are all different species. We're all of one being. And we're here to lock our roots together on top of the earth so that we can all be strong together. And that's what we're here to do. That's my message of today. Whew. Okay, now I'm going to read a few comments before I go. Get my rooted little granddaughter. I didn't make my baby's foot better. I didn't. It's what flows through me. It's the faith in me to have the courage to let it flow through me, to be a vessel. I have the courage to be a vessel no matter the cost. I have the courage to be the vessel to speak these truths, to speak of God, to speak of Jesus, to speak of Mother Mary, to speak of the power of the divine, of the spirit, of the energy, of everything. To let myself let this flow through. Because I have something inside of me that I know can be useful. That we all have a piece. We all are a piece. We're all of something of that God consciousness. And that's why my work does what it do. Because when I meet people, I'm like, I don't want to hear the fillers. Tell me what you need. And that's how prayer goes. Just tell me what you need. Because faith comes with devotion. You have to be devoted. And that's why the prayers are being done in 7 weeks, one prayer every Sunday, to be devoted to you. And when I decided to choose to say, I am done, not being devoted to me no more, devotion came with more than existing. I was done just existing. And my daughter taught me some valuable lessons in that because she went on to be very freaking successful. And I mean, very successful. And it's not about a superstar. It's about being successful in discovering what it means to embrace this world. You had one happen too, Amanda? Yay. I love them. Miracles helps us find the true you. Yes, they do. That just came through. I didn't know. So Stacy, that might be coming through also from your meditation this week. Love you, Lisa. Star Francis, I know you're in your live. Aw. Amanda, I end up so sick after I had my son. I had a hernia and I am learning it was 2 miscarriages and it made me so sick to my body. I've been running again and losing weight. Crying. See, Amanda? Yeah, crystal Reiki for you, whatever, yes, and whatever works for you. Like just having that faith to believe that that healing is happening through you. You do those our sadness and our hurts and our experiences when we internalize them, they turn to illness and we lose the sense of that faith, right? And so we let the hurts become the emotional hurts become physical hurts. And you have to be willing to break through the barrier of an emotional hurt to release the physical hurt. And that's the truth. I thank that individual for sparking that conversation. So that was the day I found acceptance in who I am. Where's the top of Lisa's? Hold on, Lisa. My mouse was charging. I couldn't scroll. Oh yes, because Lisa talked about the compassion, right? As that was the day I found acceptance in who I am. Yes, exactly right. Like finding that acceptance in who we are, who you are in this moment, it doesn't mean that's who you have to stay as. It means once you accept you, then you also can reject the things that are not you. Reject the things that you've told yourself for years or that other people have told you that you are. And you can start to let those go. I love you, monkey. Did your grandma say that? No, no. But how often do you, you're such a little monkey. It's funny you say that, Chandra. We have my mother always wanted a monkey, and we have this. I bought her a couple years ago this monkey figurine, and that freaking thing has been traveling back and forth between all of her moves and all of her stuff, and it keeps ending up back in my house. And this monkey keeps ending back in my house. And so when she was packing up her last of her stuff, I'm like, "Take this damn thing home with you." So Destiny, Reiki is a form of balancing of the body's energy. It's a form of relaxation. It's a transfer of energy. It is the energy from the divine travels through me to you. And the reason why I'm moved beyond my Asui, I'm going to, I teach, I'm a Reiki teacher, so I teach Reiki. And I think I'm going to start teaching some Reiki online. I always said no, but the more I've evolved, I'm saying yes. And so I think I'm going to be teaching some Reiki in my school as well coming up. I'm going to teach a level one, but it is the flow of energy. It is the flow of love. Reiki is compassion in action. It's that movement, that shift of compassion in action. It shifts and moves us into a state of believing in yourself enough to know that you have that you can heal yourself, that you have something that if you start to heal, like your emotional stories and your spiritual story, like where your spiritual crisis stories, is that you can start to heal your body. Yeah, and I always say there's all different kinds. So traditional Usui Reiki, we don't mess with it. It is what it is. It's a form of other people add stuff into it, and that's where you get other things like crystal Reiki and Reiki. Reiki doesn't healing healing doesn't need any tools. You don't need a rock, you don't need a stone, you don't need a candle, you don't need anything. You need faith. And that's what it's like, it's a flow of energy. And when you know that it is not you and you don't need anything else, now don't get me wrong, I love my crystals, I love my stones, I love all those things, but it all comes down to faith. And so I'm passed down generations of healing. I have a I've been blessed to be passed down through my Aboriginal culture to my through my family. I want to say my family because it's actually both sides, that I am passed down generations of healer. So I'm trained in healing, Sui Reiki, but I'm also generational healer. So my great grandfather did some amazing work. So did my great grandmothers. My great grandmother's sister was one of the greatest healers in Newfoundland of her time, and she's my great aunt. And there's actually a book written about her. And then also I have family members who are I have family members who are charmers who charm away works, which means healer. And so yeah, and so there's so many amazing things that happens in throughout that follows us through when you start to open up. Yes, it definitely helps. So you can actually book healing sessions with me. I do healing sessions because you don't need to be in person to do healing sessions. So I do healing sessions. You can book a personal healing session with me, and I book them as a long session. I don't do little ones, but yeah, you can book them right online. You sure can. You had words charmed off when you were a kid? See? And it's all about faith. All about faith. You can tell I'm Aboriginal by my facial structure. Very pretty. Oh, thank you, Destiny. Yes, exactly. I do have the I have the full I have the facial structure of my Mi'kmaq family. Like I have the bones, I have the cheekbones, my nose. I have a very distinctive family nose. And if you're from my family, like we could meet anywhere. I was in a whole different town in Newfoundland and somebody said to me, "Oh my God, you have to be a Perrier or you have to be a Paul." And I'm like, "I am." And they're like, "Yeah, you can tell. I can tell by your nose. I can tell by your eyes. I can tell by your cheekbones." And this eye color is also very linked to the Micmac. So yeah, and so this greeny gray eye color that we have, my daughter's eyes are gray, like very gray, very see-through gray. And so yeah, we have a gray green eye. And that is also part of the Mi'kmaq culture. And yeah, so and I always say, and I am that, and I do have black hair. I don't really, it's actually very, very dark brown. It's not full black, but it's very, very dark brown. So yeah, but I'm a blend. And so that's my message for today. I will give you a card quickly. I got to go get my granddaughter. My daughter's going to be like, "Here's my mother talking again." And I do have to see a friend while I'm down in Penhold as well. So hey, and my new moon meditation today, we're still in new moon energy. If you want to do my new moon meditation, I posted it in the school. To sign up in Corey School of Magic, it is free to sign up into the school. There's paid programs in there, there's free stuff in there, but you just got to make an account to get in there. And once you're in there, anything that says free, you can do. And then the new moon, the June new moon meditation is up and in there. Right? Yeah, I know, right? It's amazing. So, Love in the Dark is Shyama is Shyama today. This is Love in the Dark. And this card is about, we can believe what we believe. So if we believe the shadows to be true, if we believe the stories that somebody else creates about you, if you hold on to who you believe somebody was that you may have had one experience with 20 years ago, and you still believe that to be true of them, and you still tell that same story, then you're always being in the darkness. You're always living in some sort of pain, hurt story. To know that that is not who we are or what we are or who we were in the past is huge. And this one, she's not in the dark. Just because of where we have been, just because where we have been previously doesn't mean that's where we are now. So yes, Lisa, it is a powerful meditation. It really is. So Love in the Dark is to know that even though you may be in a hurt story, even though you may not be your shining star today, is that you is still in there. You have to want to reach in to find you, to get you, to bring you forth, because you are so worth bringing into the love and light. There comes my morning robin, sitting out on the peak in my house. She's been coming ever since I worked with two beautiful Aboriginal women, actually a woman and a man. And since then, this little robin's been coming. And so the other card is benevolence, Perphone. And if we can be anything, be kind, right? If we can be anything, be kind. Be kind to one another. The kindest thing. So the kindest things you can sometimes do is walk away, to not feel like you have to have an opinion, to just and it's the kindest thing you can do for the person, the kindest thing you can do for you. Because sometimes when you see somebody having a really shitty day and they're really acting that out, by engaging in it and contributing to it, you're bringing more attention to it. And sometimes it's the last things people want. And when they come back to themselves and they look at it and go, "Oh God, what was I doing?" So if we don't give it attention, then hopefully they can see it much quicker. They can reverse it, they can delete it, they can apologize, whatever it is, and we don't become a part of that circle with them. Even send a message, say, hey, I'm thinking of you today. I don't know what you're going through. So instead of having an opinion, send a message, say, hey, I'm unsure of what you're going through, but I see, you obviously got your own things going on. Just know I see you. Just know I send you love today. I send you healing today. Whatever it may be, don't feel the need to engage. It's the kindest thing that we can do for each other. And when we're in our vulnerable real self, is that we can look at people and be inspired by people who are achieving and not feel the need to get so, to want to be them, but to be inspired by them. It truly is okay to allow someone to be that inspiration, but not to be followed through. You have a robin too? Yes, new beginnings. This robin sits out here and he's got little babies. My neighbor's has like a little nest and there's like babies over there. So there's robins all the way around. Well, Roxanne, that would be a good place to go, is in Corey School of Magic, and you can learn how to meditate. You can start doing my guided meditations. That is the perfect place to start, and they are free. Even if they're previous ones that were done prior, go in and do those. And I'm going to be doing the prayer one that I'm doing is about meditation, and then Lisa's been asking me to do some breath work and some meditation. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of like small summer ones because I'm not going to be doing other work over the summer. So small little increments, like a 1 day, a 1 hour, 2 hour little meditation classes and stuff. I'm going to be doing those. So that's going to be my summer project because I got to get the rest of my work finished. So in the meantime, I am going to go get my granddaughter, but I have to tell you this. I have a shirt on and I have a bikini bottom on and I have no pants on, only a bikini bottom. And that's how I've been sitting here the whole time. And I'm like, oh God, please don't let me have to get up during this because, I have I have a bikini bottom on because we're going to the beach. So I'm going to go be my everyday human person and enjoy this beautiful sunny day. If you're in the sun, and if you're not, create your own sun. Come in here, go do my meditation in Corey School of Magic. The link is posted on my Facebook page. If you're on YouTube, you can go into teachables.com, go Corey School of Magic, and it will come up. Go to my website, CoreyThorne.com. Just keeping it real, I am. Just keeping it real. And so go CoreyThorne.com. And you can find all the links in there. Lisa, if you're looking for someone to help you with all this kind of work, see my website. It's incredible. That is Lisa Richard, who you see right here, and she owns Loving Energy Recharge. She also has her forecast energy readings that are also out on her page and on her website as well, or on her YouTube channel, plus on her Facebook page. Go check it out. But CoreyThorne.com, you'll find everything you need of me, including how to purchase my book. Love you all. Much, much love. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.